Three things people say about God that are not true. He doesn't care. This is what somebody may say when they're in the middle of it, when they're going through it, when they're standing in the wreckage of the destroyed house, when they're standing at the graveside of the lost parent, when they are sitting in the doctor's office and they're giving you the news of what your diagnosis is, what you're now going to be suffering with for the next several years, potentially. And you're in the middle of that crisis, and your brain is swimming with explanations, trying to find something you can latch onto to say, this is why. And in the middle of all that mess, well, it's because God doesn't care about me, someone may say. And it's easy and convenient, because otherwise we have to say, God does care, and I'm still suffering. And that's harder for us to wrestle with. To come to terms with the reality, the fact that God, it is possible for God to still care about me even while I'm in the midst of suffering. That's a fact. I would remind you what God said to Moses in Exodus 3, speaking from the bush. He said, I have seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt. I have heard the cry by reason of their taskmasters, and I know their sorrows. And he goes on to say, I'm come down so that you can go and bring them home, bring them back to Canaan. They assumed, and I know they say this later, but it's coming from somewhere within them. They believed it. They assumed God had given up on them, that God no longer cared about them. But you look at the things that he says to Moses, and you don't get that impression. I know it. I've heard it. I felt it. I've seen it. I care. Their backs are breaking against their taskmasters. My heart is breaking. Well then, God, why aren't you doing something about it then? Well, I'm going to do something about it when I'm ready to do something about it. You need to learn patience. Because sometimes when you're in a hardship, just wait. Just wait. And the God who brings good blessings will provide you with something good. And it will not necessarily make the bad thing better, but it will hopefully be so good that you'll have some perspective, and you'll be able to say, God eventually came through in his own time. I just needed to trust him and wait on the Lord, because he does care about me. And I may be hurting in the moment, and it may feel like he doesn't, but God has his own timetable, because God is not a human being. God is not a person with a small, short-term mindset. God has a bigger picture. God has a plan. God will come through in one way or another. Blessings will come in one time or another, and when they do, they will be so great that the hardship that you suffered will feel slight in comparison. Now, that's not much comfort to you in the middle of it, but that's the perspective you'll eventually gain. He does care.